It's 5 o'clock, so we're going to get started. Hi, welcome to Operation Remote Resilience. My name is Jacquelynne, and I'm a certified Warriors at Ease teacher. And today, I will be guiding you through a 30-minute all levels yoga class. And this class will be a gentle class, a little bit more relaxing. So if you would like to join me in starting in a comfortable seated position, maybe sitting on a block, a blanket or bolster, maybe a pillow. Bring awareness into the room and into your body. Maybe doing a mental body scan all the way from the toes to the crown of the head and noticing if you're holding tension anywhere. Not judging, just noticing. And taking a few breaths here. Lifting the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Maybe pushing the chin back to line those ears up with the shoulders. Engaging the core, protecting the lower back throughout this practice. Maybe softening the gaze or closing your eyes. And taking a few moments to focus on the breath. If you would like, placing one hand over the chest and one hand over the belly. And feeling the breath as it moves through the body. Feeling the rib cage expanding on the inhale. And relaxing on the exhale. And feeling the belly expanding on the inhale. And relaxing on the exhale. Just taking a few breaths here to notice the breath. And checking in. Keeping the shoulders down and back. Keeping the chest open. Giving our lungs some space to breathe. Whenever you're ready, we're going to come into all fours in a tabletop position. If you'd like some support, maybe grabbing a blanket to place under those knees. If you need any extra support under the ankles, maybe if this stretch feels too intense on the tops of your feet or your shins, you're rolling up an extra blanket and placing it under the ankles. Pushing into the tops of the feet here, the shins and the knees are about hip width apart. Walking those hands forward. Wrists are in line with the elbows, which are under the shoulders. Crown of the head is pulling towards the top of the mat, while the hips are pulling towards the back of the mat. Lengthening the spine here. Taking an exhale, gently pulling those hips towards the heels. And inhale, coming back up. We're slowly warming up the spine here, going through this a few times on your own breath, pulling those hips back on the exhale and coming up on the inhale. Trying to keep those shoulder blades squeezing together. Inhaling up. And exhale, pulling those hips back gently. And inhaling back to center. We're going to run through a few rounds of cat-cow. So taking an inhale, dropping the belly, squeezing those shoulder blades together, tilting the hips up. And exhale, arching the back, separating the shoulder blades, tucking that tailbone. Again, cycling through this a few times on your own breath. Inhaling to cow. exhaling to cat, separating those shoulder blades. Still trying to keep the shoulders away from the ears. Exhaling to cat. And inhaling back to cow. Whenever you're ready, on an inhale, bringing the spine back to center. And take an exhale, pulling those hips back towards the heels again. Maybe a little further this time. And inhale, coming back to tabletop. Exhale, pulling those hips back towards the heels. Inhaling back to tabletop. And exhale, pulling those hips back. We're going to hold here into child's pose. If you need some support under the hips, or if it's just more comfortable for you, grabbing maybe a pillow or bolster and placing it between the hips and the heels. A little more support, maybe a blanket or block for the forehead to rest on. We're going to be here for a few breaths. If you'd like, taking a wide-legged child's pose. Bringing the knees to the outside edges of the mat, giving the belly a little more space. If you would like a more active child's pose, keeping those elbows here off the mat. For a more relaxed child's pose, maybe dropping those elbows down. Pausing here and breathing. Noticing how your breath feels. Noticing the breath in the rib cage. And the belly. Just noticing how it feels a little bit different from when we're sitting compared to our collapsed child's pose. After a few breaths here, maybe walking those fingertips forward a bit, lengthening the spine a little more, and getting a stretch in our side body here on both sides. If you'd like, maybe walking one hand over to the opposite side, getting a deeper stretch in one side. And taking a few breaths here. And noticing where you're feeling the stretch more on one side. Is it more in the shoulder area, or maybe towards the ribs, or maybe in the obliques, low back? On an inhale, walking the fingertips back to center. Taking an exhale, we're going to walk the opposite hand over. Switching sides here. Again, noticing where you feel the stretch. The more in the shoulder area, more in the ribs, maybe in the low back or the oblique muscles. And inhale, walking those fingertips back to center. And pausing here in child's pose. Again, maybe resting your forehead on a blocker blanket. Maybe a quick check-in here. Maybe noticing how each side felt different during our side stretch. And different parts during that stretch. Not judging, just noticing. And after a few breaths here, inhale, coming back up to all fours, and then we're going to make our way onto lying on our backs. So have whatever props you would like. I have lots of blankets, blocks, and some bolsters. We'll be coming into Shavasana from lying on our back, so if you want to have those props ready, feel free to grab those. Come lying on our backs here. We're just going to start with our hands down by our side. We're going to take our left foot and flex our toes up. And we're going to point our right toes. And then we're going to switch, pointing the left toes and flexing the right. Just alternating the breath. Pointing one toe, flexing the other. And coming to neutral, we're going to flex both toes and point both toes. We're stretching our calves when we flex and our shins when we point. From here, if you'd like some support for your lower back, maybe grabbing a pillow or bolster for under the knees, or bringing the knees up here. We're going to take an exhale, lifting that left leg up. Maybe it's straight, maybe it's a little bit bent. Inhale, bringing it back down. Exhale, switching sides, bringing that right leg up. And exhale, lowering down. Up and switching sides, going through this on your own breath here. And after a few times, we're going to add our arm movements. We're going to inhale, lifting that right leg and the left arm coming up overhead. And exhale, bringing both back down. Inhale, bringing the left leg and the right arm up overhead. Exhale, lowering both back down. Inhaling, right leg, left arm. And exhale, lowering. Inhale, left leg, right arm. Exhale, lowering. Inhale, right leg, left arm. Exhale, lowering. Inhale, left leg, right arm. Exhale, lowering. If you like, you can either take this one at a time again, or we can go both legs at a time. Taking inhale, lifting both legs up. And exhale, lowering both legs down. Inhaling up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. If you'd like, bringing the arms into this pose again. Inhale, lifting the legs and the arms. And exhale, lower. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And pausing here for a few breaths. Maybe bringing those knees into the chest, rocking from side to side. Bringing the feet back down to the floor, maybe one at a time. Cycle through bridge pose. Bringing those feet close to the hips, about hip width apart. Trying to draw those knees together. Slowly towards the ceiling. And exhale, lower. Very slowly, taking your time. Inhale, lifting. And exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more time, inhale, lifting. And we're going to hold here for a few breaths. Trying to draw those knees together. Remembering to breathe while you're holding here. The gaze should be forward, not turning the head. next exhale, very slowly, lowering the hips back down. Again, maybe drawing the knees into the chest here. We're going to take our palms of our hands on top of our knees with our fingertips pointing towards our toes. Take an exhale, drawing those knees into the chest. Inhale, straighten the arms, knees come away from the chest. Exhale, drawing in. Inhale, releasing. Exhaling in. Inhale, releasing. After going through this a few times, we're going to bring our feet back down to the floor if you'd like, straightening your legs here. Or you can keep your legs bent or have a bolster or a pillow under the knees to protect that lower back. We're going to do this same thing, except we're doing one knee at a time. Bringing that right knee into the chest. On an exhale, inhale, releasing that foot back to the floor or the leg is outstretched. Exhale, drawing the left knee into the chest. Inhale, bringing that foot back to the floor. Exhale, right knee in. Inhale, foot back down. Exhale, left knee in. Inhale, bring the foot back down to the floor. Exhale, right knee in. Holding here for a breath or two. And inhale, bringing that foot back down to the floor. Exhale, drawing the left knee in. Holding here for a few breaths. And inhale, bring the foot back down to the floor. Taking an exhale, hugging the knees into the chest again, maybe rocking from side to side. We're going to come into a supine twist. We're going to start lying on our side. These are about 45 degrees or 90-degree angle, or kind of a fetal position here. The lower arm is outstretched. Inhaling, maybe grabbing a blanket to support the head if you'd like. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And exhale, we're going to open those arms up, reaching out. It's perfectly fine if your shoulder does not touch the floor here. And inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, we're twisting, trying to keep those hips stacked. Inhale, coming back to center. Taking an exhale, twisting. Inhale, bring the arm back to center. Exhale, opening up and twisting. We're going to hold here for a few breaths. Again, your shoulder doesn't need to touch the ground. We're trying to keep our hips stacked on top of each other. And finding a comfortable pose. Making this pose comfortable for you. Whatever that looks like. Maybe coming into cactus arms to open up the chest a little bit. Maybe placing the hand on top of that knee. Breathing here. And just focusing on the breath again. Whenever you're ready, on an inhale, Gently coming untwisted. Taking a few deeper breaths here. Pulling your spine. Come back to neutral. Whenever you're ready, rolling over onto the other side. I'm going to switch sides. Flip over so you guys can still see me. But you can just flip over on your mat. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. The lower hand is outstretched here. Maybe placing the top hand on top of it. Trying to keep these hips stacked. Take an inhale to lengthen the spine. And exhale, coming into a twist. Inhale, bringing the arm back, coming back to center. Exhale, twisting. Inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, opening. Inhaling back to center. Gonna exhale, open up again. We're gonna hold here for a few breaths. Again, finding your way of relaxing into this pose. If your shoulder does not reach the ground, that's perfectly fine. Our goal is to keep our hips stacked here. Maybe your hand comes on top of that knee. Whatever is comfortable for you. For more of an open chest stretch, you can bring this outside arm into cactus arm. And breathing here. Whenever you're ready, on an inhale, untwisting, coming back to center and holding here for a few breaths. And spine, come back to neutral. Maybe drawing those knees into the chest, rolling onto your back, rocking from side to side a little bit. Release that lower back. Then we're going to come into a figure four pose, taking the ankle over the opposite knee. If this is a good stretch for you, but you can stay here. Maybe walk the lower foot closer into the hips. If you'd like, lifting that up off the ground. If you're nearby a wall, maybe placing against a wall. Or reaching through that leg and grabbing behind on the hamstring, the lower leg, to get a little bit of a deeper stretch. Keeping the top foot here flexed to protect the knee. Taking a few breaths here. On inhale, bringing that leg back down to the floor if you lifted it up. And bringing that leg, the top leg, back down. And then we're going to switch sides. Bringing the ankle over the opposite knee. Keeping that top foot flexed. Maybe walking the lower foot closer to the hips or lifting it off the ground. Again, maybe placing it against the wall or reaching through, holding that hamstring. And breathing. On inhale, bringing that foot back down to the floor, uncrossing the legs. Taking an exhale, drawing the knees into the chest, rocking from side to side. And whenever you're ready, finding your final relaxation pose, whatever that may look like for you. Maybe grabbing some blankets to cover you, some pillow or bolster or blanket for underneath your knees. And relaxing here. Bringing your awareness back into your body. Maybe going through a mental body scan. Starting with the toes. Moving up to the ankles, and the shins, the calves, the knees, the quads, the hamstrings, and the hips, and both legs. And a quick mental body scan here. And releasing any tension you may be holding. And going to the fingers, releasing the fingers, the wrists, the forearms, and the elbows, the upper arms, the shoulders. Releasing any tension you may be holding in any of your arms or legs. Going to the belly, the lower back, the chest, and the upper back, the shoulders, the neck, the jaw, the cheeks, the eyes, the eyebrows, forehead, and the crown of the head. Releasing any tension you may find. Breathing, always coming back to the breath. Feeling the support of the mat underneath you on the floor. And checking in, comparing how you're feeling after class to how you're feeling at the beginning of class. And not judging, just noticing. Again, maybe placing one hand over the chest and one hand over the belly to focus on the breath a little bit more. After a few breaths here, maybe starting to wiggle the fingers and toes. Moving up to the wrists and the ankles. Maybe reaching the arms up overhead for one last full body stretch. And exhale, drawing the knees into the chest, giving yourself one last hug for this class. Rocking from side to side. Rolling onto the right side. Using your arm as a pillow. Pausing here for just a breath or two. And with the least amount of effort possible, and the head coming up very last, using your arms to push yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Thank you for joining me in class today. And thank you for joining me as a part of Operation Remote Resilience. And please consider visiting the link below to make a donation, ensuring the continued accessibility of resources like these. And supporters like you make it possible for warriors, eddies, teachers like me to continue to serve those who serve. And this is Jacquelynne signing off of Operation Remote Resilience. Thank you.